Welcome, welcome to Pacific Mystery School. And today we are entering into a series of 10 classes, archetypal classes on the major arcana of the tarot. And these are the major mysteries. So we're beginning the major mysteries with the Fool. So here we go, launching into zero, the Fool. The Fool. So the Fool falls to earth. This is the story. The Fool falls to earth out of the unseen, unknown realm. And this is the story that's told of the Fool in the Western mystery tradition, myth, legend. The Fool falls to earth as if in a blue egg, and then that egg cracks open, and the Fool has no memories. Then the journey begins, and the Fool begins to remember what is, what has been, and whatever shall be, including the future. So here comes the Fool landing on earth. The Fool is zero. Zero is space. Space becoming every one. So every one in the universe, which is everything in the universe, contains the Fool as the Fool becomes one after another after another. I'm going to focus on humans in this lecture, but the Fool becomes every flower, every tree, every star. But we're going to be talking about the Fool becoming human. The Fool is space, becomes one, then becomes zero again. And what does the Fool arrive with archetypally? So here comes the Fool in tarot, the card symbology. So the Fool arrives with the fiery air. And what that is it's called the fiery air, but it's the breath of life. And it's fiery with spirit. So the Fool takes in the breath and is born. The Fool arrives with the white rose. The white rose is innocence and purity and willing to take step after step in this place of innocence. The Fool has a lotus crown. And the lotus crown it's almost an afterthought. The Fool is not really aware of it, but the lotus crown is opening into purity and beauty. The Fool has a red shoe, and the red shoe is about moving with passion. Even if you don't know where you're going, even if the Fool doesn't know the way, the red shoe will be the guide, following the passion. And then the black box. So what's in the black box? Well, it turns out that the black box contains, archetypally, a wand, which is about creating change, represents the fire, the spirit, and then the cup, which is about understanding relationships, coming to understand relationships and the heart and the way the heart works. The sword or the blade, and that is about the intellect, the keen intellect, analysis, getting to the point, becoming clear, and also the coin. And the coin is the way to finding the way to survive in this world, on this planet, and so on. So the Fool has all of those things and comes in prepared, even though the Fool might not realize that I'm going to call the Fool that they are prepared for this journey. The Fool is guided by the guide dog. And oftentimes this guide dog is thought of as Coyote, because the coyote, this isn't really coyote in the tarot of the spirit. I want to tell you, that's my dog, Peppy, from my childhood. but but the archetypally, it's coyote. And coyote is crazy wisdom, appearing, disappearing, the trickster, and the leader, moving the fool, who can also appear and disappear like the trickster. The fool walks through life, so to speak, or lifetime after lifetime, inhabiting form after form, and then learning what it means to be that form or that self. Moving into the Magus, for example, which will be the next major arcana card in the beginning of the Fool's journey. Moving into all these different archetypes of tarot and donning those garments, putting on the garment of each one and experiencing what it means to be in that self. What does it mean to be in the self of the magic one, the Magus? What does it mean to be in the self of the priestess or the empress or the emperor or the hierophant? Each archetypal form is the Fool's costume. Each archetypal form holds the Fool's cosmic self within. And then each archetypal form shines with that aliveness of the illuminated cosmos. And this vision or this appearance of the cosmic form or forms is known as the shining garment. So you can apply this to yourself too, and imagine that your body is the shining garment of the universe, and that everything you're looking at is the shining garment of the universe. And this shining garment is known in the Western mystery tradition as the Holy Shekinah. And in the Tarot of the Spirit, this card we're looking at, the Earth Sister, she represents the Holy Shekinah glowing. So she is the garment. She represents the garment in the cards. Like if you were doing a card reading or a card draw, and you get this card, Holy Shekinah, the universe alive and glowing, even as yourself. So here's the Fool inhabiting the Holy Shekinah, the Earth Sister. The Fool, moving from archetypal energy to archetypal energy, learns what it means to live in each cosmological form, each being, as each being, and of each being. What does that mean? The Fool emerges in and as self. The self experiencing and learning. The Fool is the zero inside the one. And ultimately, and I mentioned this earlier already, the form of the one will be relinquished, and the Fool will return to the apparent formlessness of effulgent space. In other words, the Fool dissolves into space. And space is not empty. The Fool's experience is absorbed back into the greater zero of space. So the Fool is like the zero within the zero. Space is not empty, but effulgent. I made this point 3 times already right now. It's full. The Fool is called the fiery breath of the universe. And the astrology for this particular card is called primal air, or the spirit of ether. It's primal air from the first breath to the last. The Fool becomes a one, and when the Fool becomes a one, that primal air is activated, or the spirit of ether is activated in the one. And then when the Fool leaves the one dissolves into the fiery universe or the ether. I'm giving you some more words that are used in the Western mystery tradition. The ether. Okay, so what is ether? So ether is the substance that permeates and surrounds all that is inside and outside. It's full with the potential of creation. It's the substance that holds unseen forces, forms, and formulae that converge, congeal, and eventually materialize, because the universe is filled with formulas that keep the universe intact. For example, every atom in the universe, once it materializes as an atom, knows the formula for being that particular atom or that particular molecule or whatever the substance might be. The fiery breath and spirit of the cosmos, the very essence of life force, is that which is, that which has been, and that which ever shall be, and that's the Fool. So the Fool is the ether. The fiery breath of the universe is called Ruach in Hebrew, and it's ubiquitous, it's everywhere, and it's equally distributed. It's inside everyone and everything. Fiery air, Ruach, and it's also called Akasha. Okay, so space. This is from the Western mystery tradition. Again, space, the spirit of breath, spirit and breath of life. And it's the no thing that contains the potential for everything. The Fool is also called the scintillating intelligence. And scintillating means emitting sparks. Scintillating is the quintessence of the fiery breath of creation that pours from the originating cause, from the beginning, and flows through and into the whole of creation. The scintillating intelligence of the Fool flows through every aspect of consciousness and life. And of course, the whole tree of life and every card in the tarot deck. So every card is sparking, scintillating intelligence, emerging, continually emerging. And I want to share with you the ox herding stories because I feel they're really relevant. These are Buddhist stories, and I want to show you that these concepts, the basic concepts, are cross-cultural. So I picked out the ox herding stories because they're very much related to the Fool. So here's the story. The archetypal tale, so this would be the Buddhist tale regarding the Fool. And so we start with Aleph. Okay, the Fool appears as Aleph. That's the first letter in the Hebrew alphabet. It's called Aleph. And it means ox in Hebrew. So if you look at those letters that I have there, I have an A, an upside down A, and then the third letter is the Hebrew Aleph. Okay, so, but those letters are all ancient letters, even upside down, that emerged from the Sinai Phoenician Peninsula when writing started to come into being. So the A, so here's what I want to bring to your attention. That letter A, when you flip it over, and sometimes it appeared flipped over in ancient days, it represents an ox head. So if you look, just imagine that the triangular shape is the ox's face, and then with two horns. So ox head. And then if you use your imagination on the Aleph, which is the Hebrew letter there, you can imagine the ox head down the middle and ox horns coming out the side. Okay, so it's called, the Fool is called the ox, or Aleph is known as the ox in Hebrew. It's the first letter of the alphabet, and it means ox. And so in this story that we're about to enter into, the fool stars as the ox and as the boy who is responsible for the ox. Okay, so both of them are the fool materializing in this story. And oh, and there's my little placing the A on the ox head so you can see it a little bit. Okay, there's A, ox. Okay, so the fool, the ox, the boy is 0, which means open to receive. But also, people get confused by this because it's the first letter of the alphabet, so it's both the 0 and what they call in the Western Mystery School the first value. So sometimes it's considered to be a number 1 in the Mystery School, and sometimes it's considered to be 0. Just so you know, it depends on which branch of the Mystery School you're in, but it's always called the first value. So the first value indicates the beginning. Here's the beginning. A new one emerges who will absorb experience. Aleph comes alive as the first letter, and all of the letters of flame issue from the cosmic fire. Okay, what that means is that with the Hebrew alphabet, it's called the letters of flame. And the story is that the letters came out of the fire. So the fire's burning, and then the letters could be seen in the fire. And they're all sparking up. That's the scintillating intelligence. Even the letters sparkle. And there's flame at the top of every letter. But you can record those letters. You could write them down in the sand while you're looking at the fire. Okay, so the letters of flame are issuing from the cosmic fire. And this cosmic fire is contained in every letter of the Hebrew alphabet. So I say, see the hermit here, see the hermit. Okay, well, here's the hermit. And then that belt, that sash on the hermit, that sash is the letter Yod. That's the hermit's letter. Okay, so this letter Yod, which is on the hermit's letter, appears on the letter Aleph as a little spark of flame. It's got a lower spark and an upper spark. So the ox horns are actually two, like the sparks of flame. But it's in every single letter in the alphabet has a spark of flame at the top. So if you look at those Hebrew letters, you're going to see they're all sparking. Spark, spark, spark out of the fire. So Aleph is ox, and the ox follows the path through incarnation diligently. The ox plays a huge role in world mythology. Okay, so the ox is going to follow the path. The fool, the ox, and the boy come alive on and as earth and then begin to discover the way. This is the story. What's going on here? Who are we? What are we doing? So here's the story, how the way the story is taught. So the boy is responsible. Okay, and what that means is the ox is the most valuable thing the family has. The ox brings all the wealth of the family, the food, everything comes from the ox. So now the boy is given this huge responsibility. Okay, and here's the boy's responsibility. It's your moment now. You take the ox out to graze. Well, the boy does take the ox out to graze, and that's good. And then, so here you kind of start getting into this Zen thing. Then the boy falls asleep, and that's bad because the ox wanders away. So the boy wakes up and sees the ox is gone. Terribly worried because this is the main point of the family is the ox, right? So he begins to search for the ox. He sees signs of the ox everywhere, but can't find the ox anywhere. He sees ox hair in the tree bark, he sees footsteps, but he can't find the ox anyplace. So finally, in massive desperation, the boy has no choice but to go home because now it's dark. So the search is over. So the boy goes home, and what happens? The ox follows the boy home. That's the story. You give up the search, and here comes the ox. In the end of the story, which might go on for some time, the boy rides the ox to the marketplace. And I think what that means is now the boy has learned how to grapple better with the earth plane. Okay, so I like this picture of the boy riding the ox because the boy is actually on the ox backwards. We never can quite get it right, but we're working on it. Okay, so the fool is the boy, is the ox, and is the self. Always searching, looking, trying to understand. So here's the story in pictures. The boy takes the ox out to graze. This is the story of the earth. The boy sits down and falls asleep. This is all our lives. The ox wanders away. We can't find the ox anywhere. Where did the ox go? What did I do wrong? You know? And then finally, giving up the search, going home, and the ox follows us. And eventually, we wind up riding the ox to market. That's the Buddhist story. And so here's the fool, and I put the fool in entering into the place where the boy loses the ox. This is where we lose our way or we never had it. This is universal, and then we're trying to find our way. So on the tree of life, the fool is path number 11, it's called. So these are the paths of the tree of life. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then when we start with the fool, we're back on the top of the tree and we're between number 1 and number 2. It's called the path of the fool. And it's number 11 because 10's at the bottom of the tree and there are 10, those are all 10 paths. So now we're up at the top of the tree again on path 11. So 11 is that magical special number. And here's where we begin. 11 is an opening, 2 pillars that we walk through. 11 is a doorway. So in the story, the boy reaches toward the ox, even as sphere 1 reaches towards sphere 2. But it turns out, if you're going the other way, sphere 2 is reaching towards sphere 1. So those 2 spheres are working together on the top of the tree of life, stretching from 1, which is the beginning, to number 2, which is the heart's desire. In number 2 lives the power of attraction. That's where we start to move. The movement begins. So the fool follows the path to discovering the true nature. And that's really the deepest heart's desire, is to know the true nature. So the fool, path 11, key 0, that's the major arcana number is 0 for the fool. But the fool is also path 11 at the top of the tree of life. So the fool is the circle of nothing and everything. The enigmatic 0, hard to understand 0. It's not less than 1, it's not below 1, and it's not 1. It's the space between, around, and within, between numbers and letters, between sounds, between thoughts, between atoms, planets, galaxies. And it's also the space that's inside of everything. 0 is the void, which is effulgent. Out of 0, everything emerges. 0 is the whole. They call 0 the whole. It's the hole that you enter in through. It's also holy, filled with holes. And it's the holy, the sacred. All of it sacred. Ultimately, 0 is inseparable from 1 because 1 emerges out of 0. And it is through the existence of 1 that 0 is perceived. So what is the true nature of the fool? Well, you, even as the fool, are living cosmos. This is the most basic definition. The experience of 0 is the beginning of initiation in the spiritual mysteries. This is it. What is 0? What is the fool? Who am I? What am I made of? So then, the fool steps through the opening, 11, through the opening, and begins to wander each mystery one step at a time. The major mysteries are contained in the major arcana of Tarot. Major arcana means major mystery. So we're walking through the major mysteries, and this is what we're going to do with this next series. This is the major mysteries through which the Fool passes. And just to remind you, the minor mysteries are life situation. They call them life situation cards, and that's the 1 through 10 in each suit: fire, water, wind, and earth, in addition to the fathers, mothers, brothers, and sisters. All those cards are called the minor mysteries. The major mysteries are the major arcana, and this is where the Fool begins to walk through these major mysteries, which is what we're going to do. So then they're called the Tarot keys. They have other names too, but the Tarot keys is what we'll be using right now. Keys 1 to 21. The Magus through the universe. Magus is number 1, universe 21. Okay, so here we go. The wheel turns. And Tarot of the Spirit also includes a mystery card, and that's not contained, obviously, in most tarot decks. Most tarot decks have 78 cards. Tarot of the Spirit has 79. The mystery card holds a special position, and the Fool can also walk through the mystery card as the mystery card is overseer of the mysteries of birth, death, and karmic transition. Birth, death, and karmic transition. These are the major mysteries. Each card, or arcanum singular, is a mystery, it's an initiation, and it's a rite of passage that we are walking through. And this applies to all the cards of the Tarot deck, but those are archetypal representation of our life experience on this planet. So each card symbolizes a mystery to be unveiled. And here I show resurrection, like parting the veil. And we're going to walk through that. Each card is an initiation to be entered into. Starting with the Magus. We're going to start with the Magus. And here's the Fool again, entering the Magus. Each card is a rite of passage. And once you have passed beyond and through, you will never be the same again. And here's the Fool again. The name of the initiation of the Fool is as follows. This is what it's called, this initiation. The mysterious process of creation is ignited and entered into. The initiation begins here. Beginner's spirit, beginner's heart, beginner's mind, beginner's body. And here I had to throw in Suzuki Roshi. Roshi. In the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities. In the expert's mind, there are few. Zen Master Suzuki Roshi. The Fool is open, starts at the beginning with Fool's mind. Many possibilities. Not just one, not just two, when we confront any situation, not just this or that, but many. And this is what the Tarot deck can bring to us. And I know those of you who work with Tarot all the time know that. It expands the possibilities. Here's the nature of the Fool. The Fool is the wild card, the wandering zero. These are some of the things the Fool is called. Faithful, innocent, naive. All things seem equal. The Fool wanders into initiatory experience. And then with beginner's spirit, heart, mind, and body, the Fool leaps in without regard for consequences because the Fool is, naive. The Fool, she is an energy field, moving through an energy field. He is absorbing, learning, seeking, This is the initiation of spirit. The initiation is in spirit, heart, mind, and body. In spirit, I am the fiery breath of the cosmos coming alive as its own true nature. That's our initiation of spirit, coming alive as our own true nature. In heart, the initiation of the heart, I am love in creation, coming alive as beginner's heart. The initiation of the mind, I am original being, breathing in the miracle of beginner's mind. And the initiation of embodying it all, I am the one becoming now. I am my own true nature. These rites of initiation that we walk through, they're individual, but they're also social and sacred. They're ancient, they're futuristic, and they've been going on since the beginning of our species. The rites of initiation emerge from and create consciousness. And now I want to focus on the Egyptian mysteries, because it is said in the Western mystery tradition that a big part of the Western mystery tradition emerged from the Egyptian mysteries. So we seek initiation to realize who we really are. Back to a Buddhist image, who are we really? We are becoming the awakened one. And really, a big part of that is understanding what is transient and what is eternal, and how to work with that. And here are some of the questions that we ask with this Western mystery tradition that we're in. What brings me alive? That's the one of fire. What brings me alive? What inspirits me? And we start the question in the one, and then we move into the two. Oh, this is the power of attraction, and it's moving me toward searching for home and what's important to me in my deepest spiritual values. That's the two of fire. For what and whom and who and whom does my heart pound? And I just changed this morning. I said my heartbeat, and this morning I looked at it and I said, wait a minute, pound. What does my heart pound for? And this is opening to receive. This is the one of water, opening to receive, 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 and then finding direction. And then suddenly, yes, this is it. This is what my heart is pounding for. Feeling that energy of the Fool and moving in that direction toward that two. What do I think? And this is, what would I think if if nobody told me what to think? What would I be thinking? Me with my uniqueness. So I'm the Fool, but then with all my experiences, I become unique. And this is the one of wind. And it's all about what, for me, separates the light from the darkness. And then when we know that, we start moving toward the number two, which is our identity and what that is. This is the, on the card, on the two of wind, we see the butterfly born out of the caterpillar. We see the chick born out of the egg. So this is what we're moving toward, is this kind of birthing of ourselves. And then what is my purpose? This is earth. Of all the possibilities in the wheel of earth, what about me? Who am I? And then we move to the number two, which is called the two of earth. It's cause and effect. So we start to learn that what I put out is what starts to happen. It can be. That's one of the lessons. In the beginning, we're shaped by the field into which we emerge. Okay, and this is in so many different ways. We're shaped by our childhood, by our socialization, everything. And then through time, what happens is the field continues to shape us, but we also begin to shape the field. That's part of our role as the Fool. Shape the field. And I imagine this person in the field here, and he's pretty big across the field. And I was imagining him I grew up doing angels in the snow, if anybody knows what that means. So if you've ever lived in snow, I imagine him becoming an angel in the field. And this is from the Western mystery tradition. Like our days, our rites of initiation between our coming and going are always, quote, numbered, because this is a Western mystery school thing. We go through certain initiations and they're specific. And so these are examples. Here's one initiation. It's the sun, number 19, spiritual realization. Number 20, rebirth. This is resurrection. This is one of the initiations. 21, the universe, initiation of the cosmos. So these are initiations that we walk through when we are walking through an intentional path of initiation. The Egyptian Book of the Dead records these steps of initiation and holds a tale of initiation in 22 passages, which is why they say the major arcana of Tarot holds the tale in 22 passages, which would be 1, the Magus, 2, the Priestess, 3, the Empress, through number 21. But why 22? Because the Fool is the 0, but is value number 1, right? That makes 22. 21 is the universe. And when we get to 22, we're back at the Fool again. It becomes 0, but there are 22 total major arcana. Okay, so beginning these initiations with wonder, in ancient Egypt, the Fool was the mystic passing through the rites of initiation. What is the goal? To gain personal experience of the beyond, to realize truth and immortality. Immortality was the key. What is immortal? This was the objective of the Egyptian initiate Ani, whose name was Ani, as he moved through the 21 initiations to discover immortal life. So this is part of the Book of the Dead. The Book of the Dead is what is recorded on tomb walls, basically. That constitutes the Book of the Dead. So this is the story of Ani. So the Fool in the Tarot, like Ani, is a journeyer who moves through 21 keys of initiation. And these keys represent the greater mysteries of the cosmos. And I wanted to read you a translation of from the Book of the Dead by Normandy Ellis, who is a student of the Western Mysteries. So we all call ourselves students of the Western Mysteries. So I may be a teacher, but I'm a student. You know, the student, the teacher, in a certain sense, is the best student because the teacher is hooked, you know, and can't leave the information behind, right? So Normandy Ellis, she wrote this in 1988 in her book called Awakening Osiris, where she talks about Ani and the initiations that Ani went through from the Egyptian Book of the Dead. So she writes, the heart of the world is a crystal marked by 21 paths and one narrow road, thin as a flint blade, that the Fool walks. He comes to the first pylon, which is the first initiation. He speaks, Lady of Terror, whose heart is a wall, mistress of destruction, priestess and dancer, whose worlds are fires that crackle and spit in a man's face. Lady of Rage, she creates nightmares by the thousands. With a black word, she drives back the serpent, and the traveler goes on his way. Blessed is the lady. Okay, so this is the first initiation, is in some terror that we have to learn and walk through, and it corresponds to the Magus, which would be the first initiation, number 1. Okay, then he comes to the second pylon. Lady of Heaven, cup of flame, courtesan of 2 worlds, whore of heaven, mother of mortals. Hers is the body of love, milky paps, and flesh so vast a man gets lost. She devours all in the flame of her lioness mouth. Blessed is the lady. So this is out of the Book of the Dead. This is number 2. They don't align exactly to the tarot cards, but you can start to see how the major arcana in tarot is derived from this. So this would probably relate more to maybe the Empress. Okay, but so we're just going to jump through. You can look if you want to study this deeper. There are lots of books that describe Ani's journey in this initiation from the Book of the Dead. Okay, then I'm going to leap forward. He comes to the 20th pylon, 20th initiation. Okay, what is a pylon? A pylon is an actual room in these temples that are built out from the wall of the Nile River, and then building out room by room or pylon by pylon, and then each one becomes an initiation. So you could start by the river and go through initiations, walking in until you come to the actual end, the wall of the Nile, and complete all the initiations in the center. That would be an example. Okay, so the pylons are like a pillar, like something like pillars. Okay, so he comes to the 20th pylon. This is 20th initiation. Lady of the Tomb, Lady of the Mastaba, which is like a sarcophagus. Okay, he comes to the 20th pylon, Lady of the Tomb, Lady of the Mastaba, Lady of the Cavern. She is the resurrection. She devours the bread of the corpse, the wind of the blood. In silence, she interrogates his soul. Blessed is the lady. Every initiation winds up with blessed once you get the teachings. So this is the 20th initiation. Then he comes to the 21st pylon, Lady of the Universe, Lady of Crossed Destinies, Lady of Vibrations. She is the name of a man when first it is uttered. She molds his form in wax and tosses it into flames. Her name is not known. Her power is greatest. Blessed is the lady. And that's the 21st initiation. In the end, Ani says, I am a man whose heart is pure, who walked the paths of darkness, who shone in the houses of the other world, who came back to heaven and on earth bearing light. I passed the mothers, the daughters, and the grandmothers of vultures. I have seen the underside of beauty. I have gazed long in Hather's mirror and seen the hidden faces of the goddesses. And I shall go on believing in light. So those are the Egyptian mysteries. And now, you and I, my friend, shall seek initiation. Here we go. And like the field, we shall rise and fall and rise again, because we keep coming. We rise up like the flowers, back to the earth, back up as the flowers. Here we come and here we go. Each initiation is timeless, it's futuristic, and it's also ancient, ageless. Each initiation in the major arcana is activated by sound and color. Color doesn't pass through us, but it stops at our edges and surrounds us in light. Sound is different. It passes through us. The sound waves pass through us and awaken the space within. And each of these frequencies becomes a psychoactive activation. Sounds passing through, colors stopping us in our tracks, and colors stopping in their tracks when they hit us, the light. All of this awakens us in awe if we are open, like the Fool, to receive it. And this is the Fool in initiation of sound and light, moving through the magus and all the way to the universe, the 21st pylon. And now we're going to begin a journey together, a journey through the magic, letting this magic begin with the sounds and colors of the Fool. Okay, so you can find all the sounds and colors of the major arcana in Kabbalah and Tarot of the Spirit. It's all in the back. There are charts in the back of the book. Okay, so here we go. We're going to begin a meditation, and these are the colors of the Fool. So here we go with the colors of the Fool. The colors of the Fool are pale yellow, and you can see these in the cards. All the cards painted so intentionally with these colors. Pale yellow, sky blue, and various shades of emerald green, the leaves and the colors of the green on the planet. And now I'm going to attempt something that we used to do all the time in person. And we're going to see how it works at this point. So what I want you to do is I want you to look at these colors, to start by looking at these colors and imagine that the colors are carrying you. So here we go. And just listen and breathe, breathe, breathe in the colors. Pale yellow, sky blue, the shades of green, maybe flecked with gold. So breathe in. Breathe deeply and begin to relax. Relax, relax. Breathe into beginner's spirit. Breathe into beginner's heart. Breathe into beginner's mind. Breathe into beginner's body. Just feel yourself breathing. Breathe slowly. And drop into the center of your soul. Drop into the center of your soul where these colors live. Pale yellow, sky blue, emerald green. And in this place, in the center of your soul, know you are cradled, you are upheld, you are supported in the heart of the universe. Close your eyes and listen. Listen and relax. Listen and relax. And any sounds that you hear will just take you deeper. Imagine now that you can see with your inner eye and you can hear with your inner ear. Listen to the sound, E, the sound. And drop even deeper. Call on universal guidance. Ask to be guided. Ask to be guided in your own way, whether it be through visions you might have, through voices you might hear, through feelings, senses, or just through knowing. You know in your own way. Imagine you are waking up and seeing, as if for the first time, waking up inside of your own being, even with your eyes closed, waking. Everything is new. Everything is alive. Everything is moving with soul. You are opening up in words you don't even know. Songs of life. The song of life. Rain. Rivers. Oceans. Tides. Moon. Sun. Stars, trees, flowers, snow, eyes looking into you, you looking into eyes, sparkling with bright lights, and wet with tears of laughter and dreams. The feel of soft fur and hard edges. The sound of a beating heart. Your heart beating in your whole body. Pulsing with another, everything moving, and yet inside is stillness. Receiving, taking in all as the unmoved mover, the zero. Be still, be still. In the joy of zero, all stands ready, and then the beating heart, and the montage of life begins. Feel that you are loved, and know that you are guided. And now we will call upon that guidance. We will ask 4 questions, and we will listen for the answer. And we will awaken just for a moment to write down each answer as it comes. And now we will ask 4 questions and listen for the answer, trusting what comes, letting it come quickly and clearly, and trusting. Listen, here is the first question. What is the true essence of my spirit? What is the true essence of my spirit? What is the true essence of my spirit? Write that down and listen for the answer. The first thing that comes into your mind. Trust. What is the true essence of my spirit? Let that answer come simply and clearly. What is the true essence of my spirit? Very simply. And then bring that to a close. And now we're going on to the next question. What is the true calling of my heart? What is the true calling of my heart? What is the true calling of my heart? And let the answer come quickly and easily and simply, writing down the first thing that comes. What is the true calling of my heart? Bring that to an end. And come to the next question. What is the true wisdom of my mind? What is the true wisdom of my mind? What is the true wisdom of my mind? Trust the first thing that comes and write it down. to an end. And we will move to the last question. What is the true purpose of my being? What is the true purpose of my being? What is the true purpose of my being? And listen for the answer, letting it come simply, and write it down. And now we will leave these 4 questions knowing that you can come back here and elaborate on this at any time, getting more information. We're going to bring our meditation to a conclusion. Essence, calling, wisdom, purpose. And now begin to return to full waking consciousness, coming back, 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 back. Know that you can come back here at any time into this place to seek this information on this journey of the Fool. There are so many ways that we can enter, and another way that we can enter this journey is through tarot reading. So we also have a reading for today which looks at the same questions. So these are the 4 questions. What is the true essence of my spirit? Mix up the cards and then draw a card. What is the true calling of my heart? What is the true wisdom of my mind? And what is the true purpose of my being? We're going to let this go right now, and then you can come back to this and do this work and take as much time as you need on it. And if you need more information after the 1 card, draw another and let the tarot guide you. Let it guide you in to the zero space within yourself. This is our practice that emerges, moved by beginner's spirit, love with beginner's heart, name with beginner's mind. Again, arise, again, love, again, see. Your life is your art, moment by moment, every day. We embark upon the journey now, and may our journey be blessed. May I find myself in the sacred heart of the circle of creation. May I realize the sacred heart was never lost, but resides in all things at all times. May I open my heart to perceive the sacred energy. May I open my mind to perceive the sacred energy. May I know that all that is in and of me is sacred. May I observe the vast cycles of creation moving endlessly. May I observe the vast cycles of creation in endless stillness. May I enter the vast cycles of creative energy and become one with the circle of endless life. May I open to receive the key of the Fool. And this is our journey, and here we begin. These are the texts that we've been using and we will continue to use. You can read about the Fool in the Tarot of the Spirit, Kabbalah and Tarot of the Spirit, and you can also read about the nature of the Fool as space in the lightning papers and visionary cosmology and even the scientific parts of what space is. And for now, I want to say thank you, deep gratitude. I so deeply appreciate traveling with you on this path. Bless, 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 and thank you, thank you, thank you.